You do know this is my channel, right? So every time I turn the camera on, you don't need to be in the frame. I know you're the star of this household, but yeah, they're probably gonna tell me in the comments that you're the star of this channel also, so. Hey there, creepy peeps. My name is Nightmare Maven, and this is Daisy, and today I'm going to be talking about my favorite books that I've read this year so far, and Daisy is going to sit here and look cute and beg me to pet her the whole time. So if I'm doing this the whole time, it's because she'll scratch me if I don't. So obviously, as most of you guys here know, in addition to watching horror movies all the time, I read mostly horror books all the time. I have a creepy book club if anybody is interested. Make sure you're following either me on here, because I'll do it as a post, or on Instagram or Twitter, because I'm going to be announcing what the next creepy book club reads are in the next day or two. So right now, I want to talk about my favorite reads of the year so far, as we're basically halfway through the year at this point. Okay, so I'm going to start off really quick with the only two not horror books on this list so far, just to get them out of the way, but in case you also like to read fantasy or sci-fi. My two favorite books that I've read in those genres so far is Way of the Kings by Brandon Sanderson and The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. This took me a while to get through. It's quite thick. I think it's like 1,300 pages long, something like that. Took a while to get into it, but like once everything was established, like how the world works and all of our characters were established and everything got going, I could not put it down. Also finished the Mistborn series earlier this year. I didn't start it this year, so I'm not including it. I like the Mistborn books a little bit more. I think the magic system is a little easier to follow. I feel like it's a little bit more complicated in this book so far, even though it's technically all the Cosmere, but really good. I think there's 4 books in this series so far. I don't know how many there's meant to be, but if they're all this giant, I've gotten myself into it, so now I gotta finish it at some point, right? I know I've talked about this one before on live streams, The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. This is just cozy. It's cozy sci-fi. I didn't think I was a big sci-fi person, but I'd seen this one recommended so many times, so I had to try it out. And I call it cozy because it's kind of low stakes. Not like there isn't conflict going on, but it's just not super high stakes. So if you're not sure if you're into sci-fi, this is a good book to start out with as somebody who is starting out in sci-fi with this. So I haven't read many other sci-fi books, so I can't really tell you, but I do want to mention 2 of our previous Creepy Book Club picks because I loved them so much that they made it onto this list so far, and those are The Fervor by Alma Katsu and The Gilda Stories by Jewel Gomez. So The Fervor, much like Alma Katsu's other historical horror novels, is set during a historical event, specifically World War II in the United States. There's multiple characters, both, you know, white American characters, Japanese characters, and Japanese American characters. As a, I don't know if I want to call it like a disease or like a virus, for lack of a better term, I'll call it a virus, is rampaging through the United States, and it of course is exacerbated by World War II, so there's a lot of racism, a lot of xenophobia going on. This one, I think compared to her other ones, I mean they're kind of all slow burns to an extent. I think this one is probably the most slow burn. A lot more metaphor in this book than anything else. I guess that's the best way I can put it. And The Gilda Stories was also kind of a slower burn. It's like there wasn't like one conflict, really, like one big conflict. It was just snippets of immortal life. Gilda lives through so much terrible shit. It's a lot more of time that has passed already, so there's a lot in the past and then some present day stuff. And then I think there's like 2 bits that are in the future, which get a little bit interesting. There's not like a central conflict, it's just being immortal and dealing with that. And yeah, about history, it's about heritage, all encompassed in a vampire character. I really enjoyed this, and we had a great discussion on Creepy Book Club about it also. It's gonna surprise some people, but I do have a Stephen King book on this list. It is The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. The key, I guess, to me with reading Stephen King is to read his books that I know nothing about. So far, that's worked out almost 100% the best for me, with the exception of Pet Sematary. I did really like that one. I really liked this one. This doesn't quite look like it. I accidentally got the large print edition. So it looks a little bigger. The story is quite short. I think that helps also. So if you're also somebody who gets annoyed sometimes at how wordy Stephen King can be and how long it takes him to establish stuff and establish characters before things really get going, I would highly recommend The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, because it's quick. It's quick, and it's a scary and realistic thing that's happening, being lost in the woods as a kid. And then of course there's a little touch of maybe something supernatural going on. Of course it's going on in Maine, which Stephen King has established in his books is just like the epicenter for all the fucking scary shit in the world. But I really enjoyed this one, so it's up there for me this year so far. Another really enjoyable one. I say enjoyable, it was terrifying and made me squirm and so uncomfortable, but I loved it, is Just Like Mother by Anne Heltzel. This one just came out in the beginning of this month. Terrifying. I know I talked about this a little bit on a live stream also. Without giving too much away what's going on, I would say this is a book about like a motherhood cult. Let that sink in, especially given everything going on in the United States right now with the Supreme Court leaked draft opinion. Utterly terrifying. As with anything, before you consume it, whether it be TV, movies, books, check your content warnings. I feel like especially for this one, because there's some really heavy, scary shit going on dealing with like pregnancy and motherhood and children and cults. I do want to give a quick shout out to a book I haven't technically finished yet. I am almost done, but it is so good so far, and I know it's going to be one of my favorites of the year, and that is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. It's like Ghost Ship, but if Ghost Ship took place in space. Tragic story in their history of this world in which space travel is a thing. It was a like space cruise, essentially. It was like the Titanic, and it was the ship's maiden voyage, and it just disappeared in space. Nobody knew what happened to it. Nobody knew what happened to the crew. Everybody just disappeared, and this salvage crew comes across it, and it having been missing for 20 years in space, obviously they're gonna go aboard and see what happens. And then it kind of takes like an Event Horizon turn. So far, so fucking scary. So fucking scary. The last one, I can already I can already say it's gonna be in my top 3 of the year. Definitely my #1 favorite as of right now, and probably it's just gonna go into one of my favorite books I've ever read of all time, and that is The Last House on Needless Street. This one I'll give you a sneak peek. I'm making this one a Creepy Book Club pick. The paperback comes out soon. This will be your one hint. I'm making this a Creepy Book Club pick because I need more people to read it. I've already made some people in my Patreon read it, because you can't talk about it unless you know the ending. And I can't tell you what's going on in the ending because it's gonna spoil the whole book. It completely fucked with my expectations. It was terrifying, so fantastic. It was so good. I will tell everybody about this book and make them buy it, always. So there you have it. Those are my favorite books I've read this year so far. A good number of them are new releases, so I'm pretty proud of myself. Usually I'm pretty behind because I have like 5 million books in this room alone that I haven't read yet, but I own. So sometimes it takes me a while to get to these new releases, but I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm kind of staying up to date on some of the new books. So please share with me your favorite books of the year so far. Don't have to be new ones, just anything you've read this year so far that you love in the comment section. And like I said, yes, stay tuned for the rest of the Creepy Book Club announcement for the rest of the year. This is your hint here. It won't be July though, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Become a Creepy Peep today. I will see you very soon with a new video. Until then, stay strange. Bye.